Hello, and how are you today? I have a quick rant, for lack of a better word. And this started because of one of these worst fitness tips that someone told me just recently. We were talking, and this is what her doctor told her. And I have no letters behind my name, and I am not a doctor, but I can tell you I've worked with women for a very long time, and I have some ideas. They might all be bad too, but I'm not quite so sure they are. What I'd like to think about is when we get these myths, which are the ones I'm talking about today, when we hear these myths, they hold us, make us stuck, they stop us from moving forward. And that's the last thing we need. Weigh it with a grain of salt. You can hear what I have to say, and you might say, well, I'm going to go check on that, Kelly. But whichever way you look at it, I think that I am busting some of the worst fitness tips that I've heard in a while. And every single one of them, one of my clients has said to me that someone told them. So let's go with this. I think there's 8 of them here. Let's start with number 8. This one was what got the rant started. No names, but she was told by her doctor that before she started working out, she needed to lose weight. This is not a lady she's not skinny, but she's definitely not super heavy. She's somebody that could stand to lose a few pounds, probably about 30. The truth is when you try and just lose weight by cutting what you eat, and we're going to talk about this more in a minute, but when you just cut calories and you don't change your movement, you can see very little results. I mean, you've probably heard this already, but if we diet and then diet again and then diet again and then diet again, what happens is that our bodies learn to not diet. They learn to hang on to those calories. They learn to hang on to that fat. What they're doing is they're protecting themselves. Because when we go into low caloric deficit, what our bodies hears is, oh no, we're in trouble. We need to hang on to these calories and we need to hold on to the extra weight so that, or because something's going on and we don't have any calories coming in. So the idea of losing weight by not eating before you start moving is actually kind of backwards. So that's number 8. Number 7, no pain, no gain. All right, guys. I looked this up because I was like, where did that come from? Turns out it came from originally it goes way back, but Benjamin Franklin had a saying about basically no pain, no gain. But it wasn't necessarily about exercise. It was about other things. Jane Fonda made the saying popular. And Jane Fonda, she's amazing, right? And I bet if you asked her right now, if you said, hey, Jane, still your motto, she's probably going to say, no, not really. I actually thought it came from the Army because I have friends who have gone through the military, and that was kind of their thing. You just have to suck it up and push through and play hard and ugh. But really what happens is that when we do that, pain is different in different kinds of exercise, okay? Lactic acid. Like if you get lactic acid buildup from lifting weights, you get those sore muscles. That is completely different than injuring yourself by pushing too hard. So lactic acid, yeah, whatever. And if you don't know what that feels like, somebody said to me one time, they were telling me about how sore their legs were. And I was just listening to them. I'm thinking, what's wrong with her? Like, what doctor should I tell her to go to? And finally I said, did you do something different? And she's, oh yeah, I've been doing those squats at the gym where you lay on your back and you push with the machine. And I'm like, oh, you're experiencing lactic acid. So that is just simply that, that buildup that we get in our muscles when we've, taxed them, and it goes away in a couple of days. That's actually a great pain gain, and could have been what Jane Fonda was speaking of. But a lot of times it's taken as if you don't just push really hard and go that extra distance so that, you did something and maybe, everything feels a little bad or, your feet hurt because you went too far on that hike or your hips hurt because of your running. Forget it. Like our bodies need to be cared for. They're taking care of us. Our job is to take care of them. So forget the no pain, no gain, unless it's a little lactic acid buildup. And then that's good. Okay. That's number 7. Number 6, you have to work out every day to see results. No, You don't, actually. We need to rest in between our workouts. There is a lot of studying coming out of it's UTMB in Galveston, Texas, around how much we should really be working out. Now, personally, I don't really like these studies because I like working out 4 times a week. But what the studies are saying is that at about, like, I'm gonna throw it an about in there, about 50, especially for women, our muscles start changing a little bit, and we actually need more rest than between sets than we would in the past. And that kind of goes with what we know. We know that, as we hit about mid-30s, I think they're actually saying 30 now, but say mid-30s, we start losing muscle easier. So the studies are saying that we need to rest more than we think. That doesn't mean that we don't have to do, some sort of cardio, some light cardio, but at the same time, you don't have to be working out every day. You just don't. Like, it's not good for your body. When you're tired, like when your body is, oh my gosh, I'm tired. It's probably tired. It's probably time to just like stop. If you catch yourself in that treadmill of like, oh my gosh, I've got to work out every day, think twice. Think twice. Every week, I have at least one day that is total rest. And then I have one of my wild card days, which is just, some sort of cardio day. It's usually just some sort of light stroll, no big deal. And then maybe I have a harder cardio day and then a few days with weights. But think about that. We do need rest. That whole idea of having to work out every day to see results will actually break down muscle. So number 5, and this goes a little bit with the no pain, no gain, but if it's not hard, it doesn't count. It's not hard, it doesn't count. I had somebody, and you may have heard me speak of her on the podcast before, who was not in good shape. She was not in good shape, and she just really wanted to be. She really wanted to do some things. And for her, she wanted to hike really far. She wanted to do this really far hike. But she just wasn't there. She was not there. She couldn't do it. She had trouble walking. So we started out with that simple walk to the mailbox. Now her mailbox was a pretty good ways away. And it was, I don't know, I'll make something up. It was quarter of a mile or probably a tenth, really. It was just it was a little ways down, a little ways back. But she started out slow and easy. Slow and easy. This kind of goes back to what I was talking about a couple of weeks ago about, do you need to start slow or do you need to start strong? She started out slow and easy, did that little bit of walking, and it was not hard. It was effort. There's a difference, right? Like hard is when you're and you're pushing yourself past your limits. For her, it was effort, but she could still have a conversation if she was walking next to somebody, but she just knew she was doing something. Maybe there's something like, doing some mobility, doing some yoga, doing some Tai Chi. All of these things count. Every one of them, they all count. And don't ever let somebody tell you that, whatever that thing is that you're doing doesn't count because it's not, can I say it, balls to the wall, right? Like it's just not that difficult. Another one, number 8, strength training will make you bulky. Well, you can hear me say it all day that that's not true. Just do me a favor. Just go Google one of the women out there who's doing strength training and winning. She's not bulky. She's really cut. Now, when they're actually competing, like if somebody's competing on stage, they are going to be bigger. Like that's what they do. Like, they'll gain muscle. They'll gain muscle and they'll lose even some extra fat just to get that look for competition. But when they're not in competition mode, they just look like really hot women. It's not going to make you bulky. We don't have enough testosterone, especially as we change, as our bodies change, we lose more and more testosterone. So it's actually harder to even get more muscle on you because you're losing that testosterone. So it's not going to make you bulky, I promise. What it will do is it will start burning fat easier so that you start getting more definition. You'll start seeing actually a more defined waist. And our bodies don't do what guys' bodies do. So just think of that. Don't worry about like strength tanking, excuse me, strength training making you bulky. It won't do it. Okay. Number 3 is one of my favorites because it just goes against something I love. Carbs are bad. Okay. I It takes everything in me to keep my tongue bit between my teeth when someone is telling me about their new diet and how they've cut out all the carbs because, carbs are bad and they're not going to eat any carbs. It's just going to be protein and maybe, a low carb vegetable or something like that. The reality is that carbs are actually good for us. They're required in our bodies. They give us energy. They especially give our brain and our nervous system and our heart and our muscles, especially our brain, right? Our brain needs that glucose that comes from carbs. Like going completely carb free, I've never done it, but I would be interested if you've done it, if you've noticed that you get brain fog, because it's one of those things that actually, gives your brain energy. So think about like complex carbs, of course, like we know this one. When you have the processed carbs, like the pastas and the, I don't know, potato chips, I'm not sure, like those kinds of carbs, they are going to respond in our bodies differently than the complex carbs. The complex carbs are the grains. They could be a starchy vegetable. Some vegetables have more starch than others, but in the end, some people have even told me that they don't eat vegetables because there's carbs in them. Forget that stuff, guys. Like, they're good for you. Now, in the numbers, like, I think that I don't know, look this up, but I'm pretty sure that basically a nutritionist would say that if you're looking at your plate, what you want to be looking at is mostly vegetables, a piece of protein, whatever that is for you, and then probably about the same amount of carbs as the size of that protein, roughly, right? Like, so you take your plate, you divide it into 4 pieces, and 2 pieces are veggies, 1 portion is protein, and 1 portion is carbs. So you don't need to throw down on the carbs, but you do need them, okay? And they will make your brain work, and you'll notice that if you ever get brain fog from not eating them, you'll notice that it does come back. Number 2, age. You can't change your body after insert the year, insert the age, insert the thing that happens, menopause, perimenopause, premenopause, postmenopause, 50 years old, 60 years old, 40 years old, whatever. I hear it all the time. People say to me, "Oh, yeah, nope, I'm 50 now, so I'm just going to have that stomach." Or, I'm 50 now or I'm perimenopausal, so, I've got this extra weight on me or whatever it is. It doesn't matter what it is. We can make changes. Some changes are obviously harder, without a doubt. Some changes are obviously harder. And some changes are not going to be the huge, big changes that we could make when we were younger. It just, our bodies are changing and our hormones are changing and all of those things. But, other things are changing too. When we have more stress, we put more belly fat on. When we do, never mind, I'm going to say that one for the last one. But when we eat the things that we really shouldn't be eating, then yep, we're going to gain the weight. Or if we're not taking in the protein that we need to take in, yeah, we're going to lose muscle mass. Like all of those things matter. So don't believe that it's just because of age, because that's what people tell me a lot. And it's not just because of age. Obviously, our bodies are going to change. Like I shoot these videos and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm my mother. I look exactly like her, right? Like my facial structure has changed and my body's changed. But it's not so much that I can't do the things that I want to do, right? So just remember, like, just because we're a different age doesn't mean that this isn't the best time to do everything you want, because I get emails like this all the time too. I got an email today from somebody who said, I'm feeling a little guilty because all of a sudden, now that my kids are grown, they're having kids, And I'm not around there all the time to take care of the grandkids because I'm doing things for myself. I'm traveling with my girlfriends. My husband and I are going on this. I'm doing things and I'm enjoying myself. So just know, right? Like you don't have to feel guilty about it. And your body might not be exactly what you want it to be right now, but man, you can make it so much better, so much better. And I know you can. So number one, this is my least favorite fitness tip that I hear all the time. People tell me I've got my calories down to about, I don't know, put the number in there, 1100, 1200, whatever it is. I've got my calories all the way down and I'm doing, an hour and a half of cardio, but nothing's changing. So the reality is that worked when we were 25 and it only worked for a short time when we were 25, but our bodies were designed at that age to drop that fat, to change real quick, like instantaneous changes, right? And we could do long cardio. Now, long cardio is not necessarily our friend. And if you've listened to me in the past, this one hurts for me because I love long cardio. Like if I had my druther, I would hike for hours. I would bike for hours. That's what I love to do. And I still do that, but my caveat is I do it less. Like maybe I have one, what I call a wild card day a week where I can go as long and as far as I want. It's just whatever, I'm going for it. But the rest of the week, I don't do that. Like I keep it to 45 minutes or under. I don't go super hard when I'm doing cardio. Like I might do like high intensity for 20 minutes, or go on for 2 minutes, go hard for 2 minutes and back for, dial it down for a minute, that kind of thing. I might go for a pretty solid fast walk or hike for 45 minutes, but that's kind of where I draw my line because after that amount of time, roughly 45 minutes to an hour, you just start burning muscle. That's just what we burn. We are not going to burn any fat that we have on our bodies anymore at that point. We're just going for the muscle. That's the quick hit that happens at a certain place. Along with that comes like the lowering of calories. This is the hardest thing for anyone to take on faith from me, the hardest thing. And that is maybe you need to eat a little bit more. Like if you want to lose weight and you're not losing weight, then maybe what you need to do is up your calories a little bit. Not like if you're eating 1100 calories, don't go up to 2000, but go up to 1200, right? Look at how much you're actually burning. Like find a tracker, whatever you use. I use an Oura ring. It kind of gives me a pretty good staple of how long I'm moving in a day. But find that thing that's going to tell you that this is how many calories you're burning a day. This is your base level. This is what you're burning. And then keep your calories, keep your food up closer to that. Like maybe be in a deficit of a couple hundred calories a day. But once you cut it way down, your body is going to stop. It's going to be like, nope, not losing any of that weight because that weight's keeping me safe. So take a deep breath. Think about this one. Try something for a month. Like this is what I usually get women to do. I'm like, just do it for a month, right? Like you're not going to put on 25 pounds in a month. So just do it for a month and let's see what happens. Let's do an experiment. And that experiment is eat enough to basically use this math. So if you want to be at 130 pounds, then, divided by 10, you've got, I'm sorry, let me do that again. You want to be at 130 pounds, then you want 130 grams of protein. Okay. That's your goal for the day, is to get that amount of protein. It's not to get less calories, it's to get that amount of protein and get it from good sources, right? Like your protein's coming from good sources. Your calories are coming from good sources. They're coming from, we talked about earlier, complex grains. They're coming from vegetables and your protein, whatever your protein of choice is. But do that for a month and see what happens. And then email me. And if you gained all this weight, well, then we'll figure out how to get rid of it. But honest to goodness, I'm going to bet that you're going to feel better. You're going to sleep better every single time. And you're probably going to have lost some weight and possibly gained some muscle. So these are, I don't know, fitness fallacies that I hear all the time. So try to not fall into them. And when you need to experiment, right? Like just experiment. Give yourself 30 days and really do one of these things and see, how does it make you feel? Like, how does it make you feel if you give yourself a little bit of rest? How does it make you feel if you're eating a little bit more carbs than you were allowing yourself? But they're good, strong, complex carbs. Were you having brain fog before and now you aren't? I'd be interested. It's always interesting for me to see what happens when people just like give themselves a little bit of time to experiment a little bit. Okay. So if you're still here, thank you. I really appreciate it. And if you missed this, I think you want to hear it because it's something that we've been having a lot of fun with now. It's probably exactly what you need right now too. Do you have a fitness plan? Because I think a fitness plan is the best it's the best way to get rid of all of these fallacies, right? So if you have a fitness plan that includes, like your mobility and your movement, maybe even your food and, what your minimum daily is. And if you don't have one, it's usually because you don't know where to start. You don't actually know exactly what goes into it. You don't have the time to put one together because it takes a lot of time to actually, Google all this stuff and figure it out. And what if you get it wrong? And, maybe you're just restarting. Maybe you had an injury or something. What I'm doing is I am working with people to help them get a fitness plan so that we can set you up and have you give you something to have you going forward with. Go down to the website. Okay. It's FitisFreedom.com/plan and just jump in. They're inexpensive. This is my zone of genius. I'm really good at it. I love doing it. And I promise you, it will make a huge difference. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And I will see you next week. Bye-bye now.